This program airs statewide on California Public Television and is a California's Gold classic.
Hi, I'm Huell, and right now I'm doing a little bit of raking out here in my yard. I love working in my yard. In fact, I'm having so much fun that before the day is over, I'll probably end up doing some fertilizing and some watering. But to be completely honest with you, this is not just my yard. It's also your yard. In fact, this yard belongs to everybody who lives in California. Welcome to our state's official front yard. And back behind this building is our state's official backyard. And if you're interested in finding out just exactly what's in your yard, come on along with me as we all continue our search together, this time in our yard, for California's gold.
California, here I come, right back where I started from. Where flowers bloom in the spring. Each morning at dawning, birdies sing, and everything a sun-kissed miss said, don't be late. That's why I can hardly wait. Open up that golden gate, California, here I come. California, here I come, right back where I started from. Where flowers bloom in the spring. Each morning at dawning, birdies sing, and everything a sun-kissed miss said, don't be late. That's why I can hardly wait. Open up that golden gate, California, here I come.
It all started off pretty bare bones. In fact, when our state capitol building opened up for business back in 1874, it sat alone up on kind of a terraced hill with no trees. Over the years, trees were planted and began to fill out. And before long, the place was pretty as a postcard, full of all kinds of flowers and trees and exotic plants. In fact, the area around the Capitol became almost as well known and loved as the building itself. There are 40 acres in all, and it's called Capitol Park. Before we started our tour of this beautiful park, we met up with Rob Wood, who's the acting director of the California State Capitol Museum. Now, Rob had offered to give us a bird's-eye view of the park before we started to actually walk the grounds. Little did I know that the bird's-eye view he promised us meant we had to go all the way to the top, literally.
Now, why are we coming up here?
Well, it's the best overview of the whole entire Capitol grounds that you'll get. It's 220 feet to the top of the building.
Are you sure this is sturdy? I'm beginning
to tell me it is.
Feel a little weird up here. You mean we're going to walk up there?
All the way to the top, through the trap door that takes us into the cupola.
Are you sure this is sturdy?
Well, we haven't lost anybody yet.
This is really something.
This actually used to be open to the public until the restoration, which began in 1975.
How high up are we going?
The top of the building is 220 feet.
Whoa.
Here we go. Watch your head here. We're coming up to the trap door that opens up into the cupola.
The trap door of the state capitol. Whoa. There really is a trap door. Oh, wow. Whoa. Now, is this the tallest place in Sacramento? Are we as high up as you can get in Sacramento?
Well, we were once. Up until the 1960s, this was the tallest building in Sacramento. But it's no longer.
Well, it may not be the tallest, but it's the windiest. Is it always like that up here?
Quite often. It can be just barely breezing down below and quite a gale up here in the cupola.
Yeah, look at these. I don't know whether you can see it, Louis. Look at these flags blowing down here. There is some wind blowing here all of a sudden.
There certainly is.
Now, you brought us up here to show us the gardens, the kind of an overview of what we're going to see. That's all the state park out there.
That's Capitol Park spread out there, all 33 acres of it, and or all 33 acres of the east part of it. And this is the best place to get a real good look at what evolved over the course of 120 years, beginning in the 1870s to what it is today.
What's interesting is when you look at all the old pictures, there was nothing there at all. I mean, there were no trees at all, so now it's solid.
Right, it evolved slowly over that 120 years.
Well, after we had gotten the overview of Capitol Park, it was time to ham it up just a little bit before we climbed back down to begin the actual park tour.
Good morning.
Good morning, Huell.
How are you doing?
I'm fine. Are you ready for a walk this beautiful morning?
I am ready to see my
Our
front yard. Our
front and backyard.
front and backyards.
I hope you ate a good breakfast.
I had a...
And
why,
well fortified.
Why do you say that?
Because we're going to take a long walk.
Okay, that's right. We got 40 acres here, don't
We
we?
have 40 acres to see. And even more when you crisscross back and forth to see everything.
Well, as it turned out, we were really lucky because our tour guide was Dody Wheaton, and we hit it off from the start. Dody's been a docent at the Capitol for years, and her special love is Capitol Park.
Now here we are out in the very front. This is officially the front of the Capitol
This is
building.
the front. This is the west side, the west steps, the main entrance.
And you are starting our tour here. Why?
Because this is the oldest part of the park. The deodar cedars, which are a true cedar, and the Italian stone pines are part of the original plantings from January of 1872.
So these trees have been here 120 years.
Yes, before the building was completed.
Well, they've held up pretty well.
Very well. Much longer than their normal lifespan.
Now, why is that?
Because of the climate, you have the Sacramento is a floodplain. You have the soil washing down from the Sierra Nevada for eons of time. There is an underground water supply for the park, for all of Sacramento.
These are beautiful. Look at the
Look at the
size of these
size
things.
of the trunks.
Wow.
And straight ahead of you, with the metal brace, is one of the original stone pines with its umbrella-shaped canopy.
Oh, this one.
Yes. Those were planted at the same time as these deodar cedars.
You got to prop that one up.
They did. We don't know when the supports were put in. The tree has grown right around the support.
Now, this is kind of a little mini park right out here, right out in front.
And in the springtime, this whole area will be filled with school kids eating their lunches.
Now
Before
it's-
and after their tours of the building.
Now it's just filled with constituents going in to complain.
Right. Oh, we get lots of those all year long.
Now that's a huge tree. What is that one?
That's an Oricaria bidwilli, native to Australia, and it's rather sparse right now because of the freeze we had 2 years ago in December.
Now what is a tree native to Australia doing on the grounds of the California State Capitol?
The late 19th century, people wanted to go as far afield as they possibly could to get exotic specimens. Today, with travel as quickly and easily as it is, we don't think of these things as exotic. The east side of the park, we have quite a few eucalyptus, which are also native to Australia. And some of the things that they went abroad for, if they had only known, they could have gotten here in California, but it wouldn't have been nearly as exciting.
So the whole idea was, look, we got a tree all the way from Australia right here on our Capitol grounds.
And the trees were transported in Wardian cases like an enormous greenhouse with a tree keeper by boat. Just as Captain Bligh on the Bounty had his breadfruit trees, same idea. These are coast redwoods, which grow every place in California except in the desert. They are the tallest of all living things. If you can look between the two trees and see the gold ball on the lantern.
Oh, the top of the Capitol.
That's 210 feet tall. These trees have been measured at over 365 feet. They will grow 5 to 7 feet a year.
So these are continuing to grow. These are going to end up being taller than the Capitol.
Yes. And this is where your redwood comes from, and much of the original construction of the Capitol was redwood from trees just like this.
Now, I just realized we're standing on the grass.
Yes.
Is that okay?
Yes. It's a public park. It's for anybody to use who wants to.
So we don't have
here.
to stay on the sidewalk?
We don't have to stay off the grass. You didn't see any signs, did you?
No. I just wanted to make sure this would be a heck of a place to break a law.
No. The only thing you would break the law is if you were actually picking fruit or picking flowers or taking limbs from the trees. There is a law against that in order to preserve the trees.
And now we're going into the forest.
Yes. And you are standing under a fossil.
What? This is a fossil?
This is a fossil. This is a ginkgo biloba, literally unchanged in millions of years. They have found leaves of the ginkgo embedded into rock, literally millions of years old, completely unchanged.
Where is that tree from?
From the Orient. In many areas of China and Japan, it's considered a sacred tree. This happens to be a female and will bear fruit.
How long has this tree been here?
I don't have an exact date. It's probably about 100 years old.
It looks like almost everywhere you go there are flowers too.
That is part of the idea of a Victorian garden. The park originally was planted as a Victorian garden, meaning very symmetrical. You had matching plantings on both sides of the park. You had enormous flower beds that you could look underneath the trees and see. So wherever your eye went, you had something interesting to look at.
Yeah.
And with budget considerations, and they are very labor intensive. We do not have nearly as many as we used to.
The water fountain still works.
Yes, and the sundial still works, though it's not on daylight time.
Is this the official state sundial?
This is the official state sundial. Boy, that doesn't change to daylight time.
And it says it's, well, I don't know about the time.
Well, that I can't guarantee. It doesn't match what I've got, that's for sure. But it says the shadow is creeping and creeping, obviously.
And look at this. This is a...
Typically Victorian, very formal, very stiff. I call them pot roast yews. They're planted to be bound in a strict, very formal shape like this. If you go to Europe, you see these in many of your older gardens there.
So this was kind of part of the original layout too, something like this.
Late 19th century. And there are pictures of people dating back the turn of the century walking through here up to the Capitol in their long, formal, to us, formal gowns with their high-necked blouses and their long sleeves. It's always been a park of the people.
Yeah, you kind of, and there goes
one of the bells.
So you got plenty, you always know what time it is around.
Always know.
What a nice view here.
Isn't that a wonderful vista? This is probably the one vista that has not changed in the 100+ years of the building's history. Looking from 15th Street up to the Capitol with its beautiful dome and the gold ball.
Now here comes a guy jogging right down the middle of the park. I'm going to try and stop him for just a minute. Is this a regular thing you do?
Regular thing I do.
Every day through the park?
Every day around the park and once or twice through.
What do you like so much about this park?
Gosh, there's trees, it's open, it's big, it's about a mile square. There's people around it, you know, it's nice.
Well, you're in pretty good shape.
I don't know. I'm carrying around more than I need to right now.
You don't mind if I stop, do you?
No, not at all.
Nice to have met you.
Good luck to you.
Here he goes. Now here are three ladies sitting out here enjoying their lunch in the Capitol Park. Do you come out here a lot?
You bet. We love it.
Now, when you say you love it, what is it that's so special about this park?
We were just talking about that when we came out here, that it's just big and open and green, and there's lots of sun coming through, and it feels comfortable and serene.
Mm-hmm. Now, do you feel like it's yours because, you know, I kind of feel like this is my front yard, my backyard. I'm a taxpayer. This is mine.
I feel I have rights to be here, you bet.
Is this your bench? You've claimed it?
My bench, yes. They didn't want to sit here because it was sunny, but I said, that's too bad. This is my bench.
Where are you all from?
We're all from Texas.
You're from Texas? Well, what do you think about this place?
Beautiful place. We've been here before.
Mm-hmm.
That's the most beautiful building and the grounds of any capital.
Now, that's what we're here doing a story about, are the grounds. What do you think about the grounds?
They're terrific. I think they're the most beautiful grounds around any capital I've ever seen.
Even Texas?
Even Texas. Yes, sir.
Are you sure you want your friends back in Texas to hear you say that their grounds pretty?
They like honest people back in Texas.
Ah.
This is definitely a people's park in every shape or form. The benches, especially around the Memorial Grove, are the parks for the senior citizens that live around here. You'll see the same people in the same place with their little dogs, and you'll hear them say, I'll meet you here tomorrow, or I'm going to be doing something tomorrow, I'll meet you the next day. And frequently when I do tours out here in the park, I really almost feel like an interloper. I feel that this is their place, their park, that I have to be careful and not intrude upon them.
Mm-hmm.
And the same holds true when people come here to see the Vietnam Memorial.
This is the Vietnam.
This is the Vietnam Memorial, that you feel like you shouldn't intrude on people's privacy. This has such a meaning, different types of meanings for so many people. You have the very young people who don't understand. You have the people who went through Vietnam War, the Korean War, even World War II veterans that come back, and it brings back all the memories, whether they are good or bad, whether the memories are wanted or not wanted. It's become, I think, much more of a symbol than anybody really imagined that it would, for all wars, not just the Vietnam War.
So this is a very special place on the ground.
It's become a very, very special place.
Now, this
is our formal rose garden.
This is the formal.
I call it the formal rose garden because I have roses planted everywhere, formal and informal.
Now, is there any method to this garden?
Well, they have varieties grouped together, and it's a wonderful place if you have read an ad and you think, well, I might like to grow that. And you can go and see how the form of the rose, whether it has an odor, how large it gets, whether it fades in the sun.
Mmm.
Isn't that wonderful?
Yeah. This has got to be a favorite place for people
to
wander around.
Many of the people come because they are home gardeners. They want to come and see the roses. And they'll say, oh, I have that, or I tried that species and it didn't do very well, so I took it out. Or I would like to just see what a mass of roses looks like. This is where the mansion was built to be used for the official state governor's mansion.
Right here?
Right here, in this area of the park. The building was completed, it was never furnished, and Governor Newton Booth preferred to live in his establishment in Old Sacramento anyway.
Uh-huh.
So he lived there, and the mansion became the state printing plant until the 1920s. It was added onto and modified, and even part of the state fair was held here. The animal section of the state fair was held right here in Capitol Park, and there's a wonderful picture of the state printing plant in the background. They looked awfully much like longhorn steers in front of the building. So this all was the big state printing plant.
Now, when was that torn down?
The 1920s, early 1920s.
Now, here's the cactus garden, but there was something else here before the cactus garden.
That
wasn't
is a definite understatement. This whole section was the State Agricultural Pavilion, completed in 1884, and here until after 1910, and part of the State Fair was held. To give you an idea of the size, it had 2 wings, each wing 100 by 400 feet. At one time, there was a roller skating rink here in the park.
What?
Roller skating was a very proper sport for prim and proper Victorian maidens. They could also bowl.
Now, this is the fellow you told me I had to meet.
This is who I want you to meet. I've never seen him run into a tree, and you notice how close he comes to them. He's absolutely amazing.
Good morning. Good morning, I'm Huell. What's your name?
Arlo Blankenship.
Now, I hear you're the main man here on the Capitol grounds.
Well, I don't know according to this lady, but I am the only one that's doing the mowing for now, unless I go on vacation or something.
Now, you mow the whole park?
The whole park, all 45 acres, plus all the buildings across the street.
Now, what makes this place so special?
Capitol grounds. This is not a park. You don't see no play equipment out here or nothing. This park has got every tree in the nation around here and around the whole countryside. And a good place to work.
Do you mow this place a little better, a little more carefully than you mow your own yard at home?
I got a yard that only takes me 2.5 minutes to cut.
What about the squirrels?
Squirrels do a lot of damage.
Really?
Yes.
So you don't really like the squirrels. You better be careful now, because people like squirrels.
People like squirrels. If they understood the damage that they do on the trees and the shrubs, they might not be so apt to like them. Back in the rose garden back there, we planted 25 new roses last year, and we in one day watched the squirrels on a little branch smaller than your finger climbing on that, trying to chew it in two. So that makes all of us a little unhappy when we see that, but we have to live with it.
You have brave squirrels around here,
We
don't
have
you?
very brave squirrels.
I mean, these squirrels know no enemies.
No, these squirrels are not afraid of anyone. Nothing of anything fears them. They go anywhere they want, they do whatever they want. They rule us almost to a point.
How many squirrels you figure you've got here?
Too many.
Now this is...
A statue to Father Sarah, the founder of the missions in California. And
wait a minute, we're stepping through some
we've got a
water
leaky
here.
pipe. We must have a leaky pipe.
You mean there's a leaky pipe on the state capitol
We
grounds?
better report that right away.
Goodness.
Somebody's probably already reported it.
Uh-huh. Well, now, what's the story on the statue here? Because that's a beauty.
Isn't that lovely? 4th grade in California is the study of California history, which of course includes all the missions. And this is one of the few items in the building or in the parks that children can climb on, over, around. They can walk along and actually step right on the relief map of the missions and see where they all were. The relief map of the mountains, which gives them a feel for geography also.
Oh, there it is. So this is like an honest-to-goodness relief map.
It certainly
kinda,
is.
With all the... Oh, here are the missions.
With each mission and the date.
Boy, this is nice. This is a beauty.
And here's the valley. So this is children don't realize that they're learning something when they're playing here. You sort of sneak up on them. And they can sit on it and eat their lunches. Rub his toenails for good luck.
Oh, is that what you do?
Well, I see some of them doing it. There we go.
A lot of people have done it.
They certainly have.
You love this place, don't you?
Yes, I do. People tell me that it shows.
Well, it shows.
Thank you.
Well, we started off this thing by talking about our state's front and backyard, but that really is what it is, isn't it?
Yes, it is. In the middle of a major city, you have this beautiful, beautiful park for the people, used by the people, kept up by the people. Not many major cities anywhere in the world can make this claim. And the maintenance people do such a marvelous job under very difficult circumstances, not just the climate, but when something is used as heavily as this is used. Look at your grass. Everything looks green, it looks healthy, the trees. You have school children, you have senior citizens, you have the retired, you have the homeless, people that just walk through here like I do on my way to work every morning. It's a wonderful way to start the day. It's a privilege and a treat to get to have this in your own backyard, so to speak.
Well, it is your backyard.
I count
It's my backyard.
Yeah, it's ours.
It's their backyard.
Everybody's backyard. Yes, it's California's backyard.
Well, I hope you've enjoyed this close-up look at your yard. It is truly beautiful, and you should be very proud of it. And where else but California can each of us make a legitimate claim to have a 34-acre yard? Well, this has been a lot of fun, and as always, as we end this adventure, I'd like to personally invite you to come on along with us again next time as we all continue our search together for California's gold. And there's the rake, which means it's time for me to get back to work in our yard. Goodbye, everybody. Well, hello everybody, I'm Huell Hauser, and I sure hope you enjoyed this adventure. If you'd like to see it again or share it with your family or friends, or perhaps donate a copy to your local school or library, it's available on video cassette and on DVD. All you have to do is call 1-800-266-5727, and we'll be glad to send it to you right away.